Hey, this video we're going to be doing front brakes on a 2016 Jeep Wrangler Sahara Unlimited Edition. Let's get started. Alright, just heard from my neighbor. He wants me to go ahead and just do the front brakes while it's on the lifts and stuff with me here. So we're going to do that. This is the same as if you watched the video on the back brakes. 2 bolts for the caliper. Push the caliper all the way in, which you already saw, I did that. And we're gonna go ahead and take the caliper bolts out from the slides. And if they spin like that, get yourself a wrench, put it on the nut side for the caliper slide. Just loosen it up. Get the bottom one out. Spins, put the wrench on it. Take the bottom bolt out, and we're just going to take the top bolt out. But again, like any brake job, don't have it hanging by the sensor. You got a sensor wire here for the ABS, and you got your hose. You don't want to hang it off of that. So we're going to flip the caliper right up to the top here and let it sit like that. All right, take the brake pads off. I don't have much light here, but I hope you can see this. Same thing, caliper bracket, 2 bolts on the back side. You take yourself a 21mm wrench. I use 2 wrenches as leverage. Just makes it easier to get these to come off. And once they're loose, they should be fairly easy to get off. Shouldn't be that difficult. Hope you guys can see in here. Doing this by myself, so you know I don't have extra hands to hold lights, and I sure don't have a film crew. All right, screws are out. Take the bracket off, set it aside for now. All right, you have your rotor. Same thing. There's actually 2 clips holding this rotor in place, and just like the back side, we're going to take those clips off. It can be a little tough to get in there and rip that off, but there you go. Now on this rotor, front rotors usually ain't too bad to get off. I'm just going to tap it with the hammer because I am replacing these. Doesn't matter if we bend them or break them. Lightly tap it on the hub. It should break it free, and you got to work it out. Hub looks good. Actually looks really good, man. Wow. I'm just going to wash it down with some brake clean on this here real quick. Just like any brake job that I always do, I take brake clean and get that oil off that rotor surface where the pads meet. Nice crosshatch on that rotor. Really nice. Just clean that up really quick. It'll air dry. Rotor goes on. Take one of my nuts and I just screw it down just to hold the rotor in place. There we go. All right, this looks good. Everything moves nice and free. I am going to change out the hardware because he did get the hardware. And this stuff, it just pops out. You can pretty much do it with your finger. You just take the new hardware. If everything looks good, and just get it in there. Doesn't take a lot of grease. You just want to put a little bit on the slide. Take the caliper bracket, put that back in place, get your screws in there, bolts, whatever you want to call them. Just be careful up here because you do have the ABS wiring. Don't want to damage that. You should be able to screw these all the way down by hand. They should go in nice and smoothly without any issues. Take your wrench and tighten them up. Okay, now you take your inboard pad, the one with the sensor on it, and then you push both pads onto the rotor. Take your pins out, look them over, make sure they're okay. I'll throw a little bit of grease on there. Everything looks good actually. Doesn't really need grease, but doesn't hurt to add a little bit. And you put that back in place, work it a little bit. in place. Slide the caliper over the brake pads, put the bottom bolt in, and we tighten everything. And we're done. Brakes are done. Basically, that's it for front brakes on a Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. Just gonna get the wheel on. So that's it. That's the brakes, front brakes, on a 2016 Jeep Wrangler. This just happens to be the Sahara Unlimited Edition, and fairly easy to do, just like most cars. Not much different at all. No special things that I can see that need to be done. So, y'all take care. Bye-bye.